non-young people in politicians today. We'll talk about that in a second. But unfortunately, she's going to be resigning in January. You guys saw all the news, right? She had a little riff or so with Trump, I think, of falling out with Trump. So she decided, hey, it's time for me to move on. Hope we see her back in politics again. But let me read you this, because what I found interesting is what she said about running for president. There's speculation. She's like, no, I'm not going to run for president. But let me read you her quote. She said, running for president requires traveling all over the country. That sucks. Begging for donations all day, every day to raise hundreds of millions of dollars. I think that sucks. Arguing political talking points every day to the point of exhaustion. That's not good. Destroying your health. That's not good. And having no personal life in order to attempt to get enough votes to become president, or to go to work into a system that refuses to fix any of America's problems. I think I've been saying that a lot. I mean, what is going on with our country? We're not really fixing problems. Talk about education. Talk about that in a second. So this is what she came out and said. She also said the fact that I'd have to go through all that, but would be totally blocked from truly fixing anything, is exactly why I would never do it. I mean, kudos to her. Never run for president. I mean, I guess you never say never, but again, think about it. Traveling all over the place, you're begging for donations. In New York, a long time ago, I went to this event, and there was some politician there kind of, asking everybody for money. I mean, that's not my thing. But anyway, here's what else she said. She said she's not motivated by power and titles. I really like that, because so many politicians are. And she argues a political industrial complex has destroyed our country and will never allow someone like me or you to rise to power and actually solve the crisis that plague all of us. Hey, let me tell you something. Hey, if that's true, which it could very well be true, that's very unfortunate, because what's going on is, and you guys know this, right? In the next presidential election, Gen Z and millennials are going to rule. I mean, they're going to, the majority of first-time voters are going to make a big difference. But let me talk about this, because I've been thinking about it. Term limits for politicians. Now, I've never run for anything in my life. Well, no. And when I was in middle school, I remember, I think it was like 7th grade, 8th grade, middle school. Yeah, 8th grade. I ran for class president. I got beat by Joey Dunnigan because he was more popular. I remember that. It was a popularity contest. That's the problem with these elections. It's a popularity contest. It's not the person that's going to go in there to make a difference. It's unfortunate. But this is what I believe. There should be term limits for politicians. Hey, there's a term limit for president, right? He's only 2 terms, 8 years. So why don't we do this? Anyone in the United States that's elected to anything political should be 20 years. Cap it at 20 years. That's a long time, 2 decades. Let me tell you, Mitch McConnell, Nancy Pelosi, been around for 40 years. In 1985, I graduated college. You know how different the world was in 1985? And you're still empowered today? I don't know about that. I really believe we should cap it at 20 years. And it's not just, again, not just the legislative branches. I think any politician. All right, how about this? There's overwhelming public support. About 87% agree. They agree with me. I think they're talking about the legislative, but they agree. And it encourages citizen legislature by bringing fresh faces and ideas for all walks of life. No doubt, you're bringing in fresh blood. What's wrong with that? Especially these young guys should be coming in. Look at New York and AOC. I mean, they're younger, but they're bringing a fresh face, a fresh voice. It also makes elections more competitive. No doubt. 95% get reelected in the legislative branch. It's easy to get reelected. All right, it increases accountability, right? When we limit them, it's going to increase accountability because, you're not just going to sit back and enjoy the ride. You're going to work for it, and it weakens the seniority system. Well, I think that's a good thing, and it resets the power. It resets the power structure. Now, this is why people are against it. They say it's a loss of institutional knowledge. Yeah, sure. You've been around for 40 years. You got all the knowledge in the world. But let me tell you, you're not a fresh voice. Number two, it weakens Congress with less experience. Well, I disagree with that, because just because you're less experienced doesn't mean you want to have great ideas, and you want to make a difference, right? You want to make a difference for people like you, younger people. And number three, it says, it kind of doesn't give voters choice, because voters want to choose, the guy that's been there. I don't know about that. Again, I think we should have term limits for politicians. Speaking of something that's going down the tubes, what about this? I read this Straight Arrow News, right? I get this every day. I really like that. It says the U.S. spent nearly $1 trillion on public schools in 2023. All right, what do we get for that? Talk about reading scores and math scores going like way down, like going down the tubes. I mean, hey, I wrote this book on it. Let me tell you, the government spends $26,000 a student in K through 12. It's a lot more in New York City, and it's a lot less in Idaho, but on average, they're giving $26,000 to each kid. You know what the average teacher's salary has increased or decreased? It stayed stagnant from 2002 to 2020. Teachers have been stagnant, and from 2020 to 2022, it dropped by 6%. Go figure. Teachers are getting paid less. That's insane. I write in my book, there should be 2 teachers in every class. Let me tell you, these students are not learning. I mean, I should know. I taught in more than 60 public schools, K through 12. I'm telling you, I met a 5th grader once. No kidding. He couldn't read or write or speak English. He couldn't read or write Spanish. And I went to the principal and I said, whoa. This kid belongs in kindergarten. What's he doing in 5th grade? Because that kid becomes trouble. He's very frustrated. He can't learn because he can't even understand anything. You know what she said to me? Well, they told me he was in 5th grade. I go, who told? His parents? I go, who told you? Who's they? Unbelievable. These kids, reading and writing. And I want to give a shout out to Michael Linson. You guys should read his books. I interviewed him on Friday and had a really good interview. And we talked about that, but go see that. That's episode 208. He's got smart classroom management, really talks about how to manage the classroom. But let me tell you something. For someone that's been there, it's very, very difficult when you have kids that aren't learning and they get frustrated, especially the young kids. When kids get to 2nd, 3rd grade, they don't know the alphabet. That's like insane. Again, 2 teachers for every class, and the teachers should make more money without a doubt. All right. Speaking of teaching, I want to teach you something here, because this is the kind of stuff I read. I get this now from Dictionary Scoop. Guys, go check it out. I get an email, 2 emails a day from Dictionary, and it talks about what is the most brightest, I guess the brightest animals on the planet in addition to us. Who are they? These are the top 10. Of course, we are, but number 1, everybody knows this, chimpanzees. All right, what's it say here? They said chimpanzees share close to 99% of our DNA, right? So they can learn sign language, they use tools, they demonstrate empathy. No doubt they have complex social groups. Gave a rest in peace to Miss Goodall. Remember her? She made a huge difference in understanding them. Number 2, elephants. No kidding, elephant. They got steel trap memories. Right, they have large brains evolved to allow them. They remember complex routes and the location of key watering holes over vast distances. They get emotional intelligence, and they do display human-like behaviors, like when they're distressed or they're mourning their dead. You guys see that? I watch videos about that. Number 3, octopuses. I didn't know that. I mean, do you know octopuses, they could solve puzzles. And they say they're some of the most intelligent species in the animal kingdom. They're masters of deceit. They're capable of camouflaging. Yeah, we know that. They make daring escapes. They display they can open jars. Yeah, I watched the guy that has a pet navigate mazes, but unbelievable. All right, number 4, crows. I think you guys know this. Crows are smart. And you ever see there's like symbols. crows in the backyard, but they're the most intelligent bird. They're capable. They could use tools. They could solve multi-step puzzles. They've been observed crafting hooks out of twigs to get insects. I mean, yeah, the crows they're capable of self-awareness. It says their intelligence has been compared to that of the great apes, like gorillas. Man, that's unbelievable. How about number 5? My favorite animal on the planet. It's a dolphin. Dolphins are really super smart, right? They're social creatures. We know that. They're remarkably intelligent. I mean, scientists believe they're the second smartest animal on the planet. That's what I believe. But next to us, of course. But they're quick learners. Hey, there's a movie with George C. Scott and Vanderveer. I think it was his wife at the time. I'm going back early 70s, Day of the Dolphin. I love that movie. But anyway, go watch that. I'm not reviewing that, but that's a movie that I highly recommend that I remember when I was maybe 9 or 10 years old. Day of the Dolphin. All right, dolphins are quick learners. They prove to be self-aware. They do this mirror test, and they communicate for a system. It's a sophisticated system of clicks and whistles, right? They can make tools. They have emotions, man. Love dolphins. How about this? Number 6, pigs. Did you ever see pigs? As I ran when I was in LA one time, I ran into this guy who had a potbelly pig as a pet. I mean, it was really cool. He let me like kind of play with it in the park. But they're underestimated. They possess impressive cognitive abilities. They learn tricks. They solve problems. They play video games. No kidding, man. Pigs have excellent long-term memories, and they adapt to new environments quickly. All right. They say they're smarter than dogs. I'm telling you, this guy had a pet. It was only like this big. It was adorable. And they said that they're as intelligent as a 4-year-old child. Unbelievable. I wonder if they can go to kindergarten or maybe 5th grade and teach this kid how to read and write. All right. Number 7 is parrots. I think everybody knows that. They're like crows, and they have exceptional intelligence. And they say that their ability to mimic human speech, it goes beyond it goes beyond that. They can solve puzzles, use tools. And it says they have a deep understanding of concepts such as object permanence. Pretty cool. Parrots. Number 8, rats. Well, I know this because when I was a kid, I had a rat as a pet. I thought it was a gerbil when I got it, but no, it turned out to be a rat. Let me tell you. They're super smart. They domesticate these things. They're highly adaptable. They have excellent problem-solving skills. They can navigate mazes. Everybody's seen that. They learn from observation. I'm telling you, my little dude would hang out on my shoulder. It was all my mother didn't like it too much, but neither did my dad, who ended up taking him down to the ballpark. You'll read about that in my memoir one day. But you're like, oh, we got to set him free. I said, that cat didn't last. I mean, my rat didn't last one day, I'm sure. But anyway, they could feel empathy. Rats can feel empathy and feeling trapped. It's unbelievable. Anyway, we know that in labs. How about number 9, orcas? All right, everybody knows this, right? How about the movie Orca? The sequel to Jaws, I guess. But they're known as killer whales, right? They're clever. They're very clever. They say they're one of the most adaptable predators in the sea. And they have astounding intelligence, all right? They got distinct dialects, complex social lives. It says what sets them apart is that they're highly specialized hunting strategies. Yeah, I watch videos about them hunting and how they sort of trick the seals, and they come together and they, the water, and they knock them off the ice. It's unbelievable. But they said some populations are used to hunt alongside human whalers. They alert humans of the presence of whales, and they guide them to their locations in exchange for scraps. Wow, talk about orcas. And number 10, this one I had no idea. Ants. Oh, God. Ants, they say, they're very smart by themselves. Collectively, they have remarkable intelligence. And I'll give you a quick story. When I was 12 years old, went to Stokes. How about this? They said their brain is composed of individual neurons, and an anthill effectively behaves as a super organism, right? Composed of many individual ants. So this says the anthill creates large structures, ingeniously gathers nearby resources to keep it alive. Interesting. works as its own organism. So anyway, and ants are capable of navigating complex environments and communicating and coordinating group activities. So there you have it, guys. These are the 10 smartest animals in addition to us. But check this out. So I went to Stokes. It was awesome. It's the first time I ever went away. It took us for the weekend, and it was like a survival course. I was 12 years old. We slept in these bunk beds. It was awesome. But all I remember is they taught you, if you ever got caught in the wild, how to eat ants. No kidding. You would have to hold their head because you ate it without it, like it could crawl back up, it could bite you. So you basically hold it by the head and you bite off the head and you kind of it was like crunchy. No kidding. I was eating ants when I was 12 years old, but hey, who knew that they were that intelligent? All right, guys. Again, I have a good time with this. I hope you do too. Maybe you walk away with something. And if you need a little more fitness motivation, you'll see I put out a little video of my bicep workout. What I'm going to do is once a week, I'm going to try to put out a video of a different body part. And then in March for my birthday, I think I'm going to do a full workout for you guys, a full 45 minutes, start to finish. Hey, 62-year-old dude doing it. Anybody could do it. All right, guys. Have a great week. I know I'm going to probably do another show this week. And then on Friday, we have an interview coming up with a real estate broker, a lease broker in California. I give a shout out to Nina. She's coming on the show. And she used to be in the business of Hollywood. So looking forward to that. All right, guys. Have a great weekend. And as always, get your workout in. Peace.